wanted to point out where the Koch brothers developed some of their beliefs. And so Jane Meyer points a lot of this out in the book Dark Money. This is a great book. I'd recommend it if you want to understand the current political system, if you want to understand the rise of Citizens United and the enormous amounts of money that the wealthiest individuals are able to have in our society. And so I wanted to point out a school that Charles Koch attended. So this school is called the Freedom School. And so Charles attended this school, and it was led by a radical thinker named Robert Lefevre. The school had close ties to the John Birch Society, a really radical group, and Lefevre liked to claim that the government is a disease masquerading as its own cure. There's a historian of the Libertarian movement, last name of Doherty, who claimed that Lefevre was the anarchist figure who won Charles' heart from a young age. He argued that the school contained a tiny group of people who thought that the New Deal, that this was a horrible mistake. Lefevre used to hold rallies. This guy was radical. This guy was out of control. He used to hold rallies where the crowd, they would chant annihilate them in response to hearing Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt. And so the school taught a revisionist version of American history in which the robber barons of the Gilded Age, they were viewed as heroes. The Gilded Age was viewed as the country's golden era in which individuals were able to accumulate massive fortunes unimpeded with government interference. In this school, they taught that taxes were theft. They taught that the progressive movement, Roosevelt's New Deal, Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty, they taught that these were ruinous turns towards socialism. They taught that the weak and poor should be cared for not by government, but by individual charities. The school also taught a revisionist period of the Civil War. They claimed that it shouldn't have been fought. They taught that the South had every right to secede. And they said that slavery was a lesser evil than military conscription. And they argued that humans should be allowed to sell themselves into slavery if they wished. So that's the kind of idea that they taught with slavery. There was a group of Illinois teachers that were sent to observe the school. So they were sent into the school in 1959. A local chamber of commerce encouraged them to go. And what they returned and reported was shocking. They notified the FBI and then later published a letter denouncing the school for advocating no government, no police department, no fire department, no health or zoning laws. The school even taught that there shouldn't be a national defense. The teachers noted that this was anarchy. They were advocating anarchy in the school. The teachers also claimed that the school, the only really right that they advocated, the Bill of Rights, was the right to own property. Once the founder of the school, Lefevre, he was being interviewed by a local newspaper, and he told the paper that black students, which he had no black students at the time, he said that black students might pose a problem at the school because some of his students were segregationists. So these were the kinds of people that were attending the school, segregationists, people that were racist, people that were elitist. Charles Koch loved the school. He tried to convince his brothers into attending. The older brother, Fred, he had spent more time than the others studying history, studying literature. He gave the school a try, and he said that the curriculum was bilge. He wasn't impressed. There was a faculty member at the school named James J. Martin. He was an anarchist historian who became well known for being a Holocaust denier. So we need to understand the Koch brothers have an enormous influence on American politics today. In all reality, they are the owners of the Republican Party. They fund Americans for Prosperity. They fund the Cato Institute. They fund Freedom Works. They fund all kinds of organizations. They hold big summits where they collect money from other donors. These are some of the most powerful people in the world with a combined net worth of $80 billion, and these are the extreme views that they had. Charles was literally indoctrinated from a young age at this school. Excuse for a school wasn't teaching an accurate version of history. It was teaching something that was misguided. The thing is, this goes along with psychology, especially evolutionary psychology and social psychology. It's very convenient to believe these things, to believe that FDR was bad and that the bankers of the Great Depression, that they were the good ones, they didn't cause it. It's very easy to believe those things when you grow up with an enormous amount of money. It's easy to believe wealthy people are great and the government who imposes taxes on them is evil. That's a very convenient set of beliefs. That's the thing with evolutionary psychology. Oftentimes, our subconscious thoughts, it's not about what is necessarily objective or true. It's what is convenient for us. We are creatures of survival. And so it takes a deep and reflective mind, a mind with a lot of self-control, and a great deal of knowledge to overcome their own biases and not just advocate for positions that help them personally. But I just thought I'd share a little bit of a background of Charles Koch, of where he developed some of his ideas and philosophies. Again, the book that I get this from, this is Dark Money by Jane Meyer. An excellent book, and I'd recommend it to anyone. I'm convinced that a lot of people on the right, they haven't read this book objectively. If they did, I don't think they would be advocating for the views that they do. They'd feel a great deal of cognitive dissonance. They would try to justify it away. But that's the thing. With humans, this is just basic psychology. Once our minds are made up and once we've chosen our tribes, oftentimes we're not looking to be persuaded. We're not looking for objective facts. Most of us just keep pushing with the path that we've chosen with the tribe that we've chosen, and we're going to read books written by their authors. I mean, I think it's good for both liberals and conservatives to try to keep an open mind and read as much as possible. Oh, she also brings up with this Freedom School, Charles was really into the writings of Friedrich Hayek, and she notes that a lot of writers who talk about Hayek, they don't mention that he advocated for some basic societal safety net. Oftentimes they write about him being this great conservative, and he did have conservative viewpoints, that's true, but they don't mention some of his writings. They just completely omit it because it doesn't fit their political purposes.